we got to go check this out. So without further ado, Charlie Kirk is talking to this young lady here. Charlie Kirk travels to all these different college campuses throughout the United States, and he educates these young individuals. I don't agree with everything that he says, but he's got some very interesting takes. Very interesting takes. Let's go check out what he's got to say here. Let's go.
You're 30 years old. We can agree you're 30 years old, right?
It's like, she's
Do you
very
think that's
upset.
a little bit silly?
Are you a voter?
I am a voter. I'm a
So
registered
I
voter.
vote and you vote. So I'm talking to voters of this country that will determine the future of Western civilization. That's what I'm doing here today. Yeah? Wait, hold on. How is it any different than a professor talking to you?
Then a professor talking to you? Who are you?
Well, important enough for you to come up to a microphone.
Actually, when I first saw this ad, I thought it was like an improv comedy thing. It looked so ridiculous that I didn't even think it was real.
Well, no, you could see. Look how popular Trump is on your campus. How does that make you feel? That's not comedy. That is a 5-alarm fire for Kamala Harris, because she's probably going to lose Pennsylvania.
Look,
But no, I just want to be clear. Is there something wrong with talking to voters?
no, there's nothing wrong with talking.
Well, that's
to
what we're doing
voters.
here today. It's an open
I
mic,
think that you push a dangerous agenda.
such as.
It's about to go in. Let's go.
Your stance on abortion rights, for example.
Here we go.
There we go.
Okay, so
Let me ask a question.
Vivek.
What is your name?
Gene.
Gene. And what is your understanding of the current Republican Party's stance on federal intervention in abortion?
Well, I know that they want to bring it back to the states, right?
So it sounds like you do know that the Republican Party's current stance on abortion is they're against a federal ban on abortion.
I do
And we're
understand
talking about
that,
a
yes.
presidential election as the
Yes.
important election that we're talking about here.
I understand that, yes.
Great. So again,
What's your
I think
issue, then?
This open dialogue is great. I think it's great you're here challenging Charlie, and I think it's great that he's willing to travel campuses across this country to talk to the next generation.
Right.
We need more conversation. Now, where's the disagreement, though, on content? Because you could criticize style or why you're talking to people
Listen,
or dunk
my-
on someone personally, but where do you actually disagree with
I
the
agree
substance?
with the way that you edit content and specifically frame it so that people look bad talking to you. You,
But they do look
the
bad
way that
talking
you
to
edit
him.
your
we
content.
post unedited content.
Let me just ask you one thing though, because personal insults can fly in all directions. Where is an area where you have a disagreement with the conservative movement, with Donald Trump, with Charlie Kirk, perhaps with myself? I was a presidential candidate last year. I think we need to talk about that more in the open, and the more we do, the stronger our country is going to be.
Shout
We
out
got
to
a long
Vivek.
line of people, but I want to hear from you one substantive area where you have an authentic disagreement, and I'd be glad to address it. I'm sure Charlie would too.
Just
She
in
doesn't
any,
have one.
Anything.
any
relating-
political.
Relating to any political topic where you have a disagreement, let's air it.
Okay. I disagree with some of the laws that are being pushed in Congress that are against the LGBTQ community.
Here,
and
okay.
The trans community.
Okay, so let's talk about that.
Interesting.
I'm going to give you my view, and then I want to hear yours.
Okay.
My view is that if you're a fully grown adult, 18 or above, you're free to live how you want, dress how you want, marry who you want if you want, if you're
Okay.
over the age of 18.
I agree.
But you are not free to indoctrinate children in schools who are not yet of the age of consent.
Right.
You are not free, just as you're a 17-year-old or a 15-year-old can't get a tattoo
This guy's
on their
going
own.
there.
I don't think that you should be able to go or
Yeah.
until the age of 18. And so the lines that I draw here is that men are free to claim to be women and swim in swimming pools. You're not free to claim trophies in a women's sports competition. You're
Right.
not free to enter a women's locker room. You're not free to change a language, and you're not free to actually indoctrinate our children who are under the age of 5 in schools. Should we agree on the fact that adults should be able to live freely while still treating children differently? If so, we're on the same side of this issue.
I agree.
Listen, I agree with the majority of what you said. However, I don't think that you're understanding the implications of the laws that are trying to be passed.
Look, we got a head start in the conversation. We got a long line behind you, but my only ask is, Forget the personal attacks or the stylistic attacks. Focus on substance. The more we debate that, the stronger we're going to be as a country. Thank you for coming.
Thank you.
I don't think
Get shut down.
you're focusing on substance, though. That's the issue.
Hold on. Look, he intentionally tried to provoke substance out of you, and you said, well, I'm worried about some laws Congress should pass. I have to ask, what laws are you talking about? Can you be specific?
I'm sorry, I'm very nervous, but this is what you do. This is what you do. You take people and
You
you
put
put them
them on the
under the
spot.
spotlight, and you.
Well, hold on. I didn't ask you to come up here. You voluntarily came to the front of the line. You didn't have to do that.
You're purposely antagonizing people on campus, asking
How?
people to come up by spreading
Because I'm
your
asking you
weird
questions?
agenda.
How? What
Look at
agenda is? I'm confused though.
Just real quick, you see his security. He's looking at him. It is impressive, and to her issue is that she's saying that he provokes people. If you pull up and think that you know more than Charlie Kirk, or you have a one-up on Charlie Kirk, you have another thing coming. You better be prepared. That's what these folks just don't understand. Like, they think that he's like some joke or something like that, like some schmuck. It's like, this guy, he knows what he's talking about. Like, for the most part, you go ahead and challenge him if you could provide really good, challenging debate like topics here, and you're like have common sense and you're have some reasoning, you'll have a good conversation. But if you go up here and have this like, this guy is just like an idiot, this is what happens. And there's so many videos of Charlie talking to folks, and they look ridiculous. Let's get back to this.
So, Charlie, I'll say this. We'll end on this, and we'll go to the next question. When I was 18, and I'm not going to blame you for this, I also took for granted a lot of the stuff that the media force-fed me, because that's what you know at the age of 18. You say there are some vague laws making their way through Congress that are hostile to the trans community. I don't think those laws actually exist, but I don't blame you if that's what the cable media is feeding you. But let's get to the specifics, and then we're able to actually have an open dialogue. And that's one of the things I've learned over the last 20 years.
I think that the issue is we're getting our media from different sources. Both people are getting media from these skewed sources. The facts that you're presenting are not always correct.
And that's why we're here with no TV screens between us. So people who have policy-based substantive disagreements, we invite those. I think that's how we're going to get our country back. And as it relates to trans, which you brought up, 18 or above, you're free to live how you want. You're not free to force that onto somebody else, or especially kids. And if we agree on that, we make some progress. Thank you.
Let's go.